guys. So I wanted to upload another video about graphing parabolas because I wanted to give you some easy steps to always graphing parabolas. And so I want you to take notes here and I want you to write these steps down. So the first thing that you're going to do when you're graphing a parabola is you're going to, number one, find the vertex. Okay, and we're going to talk about that because we've done that previously in the other videos. But then the second step is that we're going to use a step pattern. 1, 3, 5, 7. And then we're going to multiply by whatever is our A value is. Okay, so we'll explain all that. But I want us to look at this problem right here. Write this down. Y equals, parentheses, x plus 4 squared minus 4. So this is already in our vertex form, right? So let's just remember that when we're looking at our h and our k value, remember our vertex is going to be, because we're going to flip it, so our vertex for our h value is going to be -4. And then remember, we keep our k value exactly -4. So that's really, really easy. Easy to find our vertex because it was already in the correct form. Now, we're going to notice that our A value, because remember, whatever is outside the parenthesis is our A value, that is always, that is 1. So whenever it's 1, we're going to use this step pattern. So our step pattern is going to be 1, 3, 5, and 7. So this is really simple. So let me go ahead and take out my graph here. So this is what you're going to do. And so let's look at this for a second. So if we're looking at this and we know our vertex is at -4, -4, -4, -4. So let's put our vertex first. So we have -4, -4. So that is our vertex. And then we're going to use our step pattern 1, 3, 5, and 7. And this is how it goes. You're going to start at the vertex and you're going to go over 1, up 1. Then you're going to go over 1, up 3, over 1, up 3. So over 1, 1, and then up 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to go to your 5, over 1, up 5. So over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you have space, which we do here, you're going to say, okay, well, over 1, up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can keep going if you wanted to, because you're just going to skip count, okay? So you're going to be skip counting here. Now you do the same thing on both sides. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we're going to say over 1, up 1, because remember it's symmetrical. So exactly it's going to match this point on this side, right? This is over 1, up 3. This is over 1, up 5, right? Exactly symmetrical. This is over 1, up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's exactly symmetrical. So then we're going to take we plotted all the points that we need, and we're going to just draw our parabola. Mine's not going to be perfect, but you just want it to have it really curvy and going through all of those points. So that's what that looks like. So this was the problem y equals x plus 4 squared minus 4. This was this parabola. All right, and now you might encounter a little bit of a harder problem, so let's go ahead and look at that. So let's look at a problem that is, let's look at y equals -x squared minus 2x minus 1. Now this one is not in our vertex formula, but remember you can also find the vertex, remember, by looking at your b value. So our b, remember, so our a is negative 1. Our B is negative 2. And, well, we know our C is negative 1. Now remember, for the vertex, you can also say, well, remember, for the x value, it's negative B over 2a. That's how we find our x value of the vertex. And then whatever that is, we plug it into our formula to get our y. Remember that? So let's solve for our x. So we're going to say, okay, well, we have a negative, and then our b is negative 2. And then we're going to say 2. And then we have our negative 1 here. So let's simplify that. Negative times a negative is a positive. And this is going to be negative 2. So our x coordinate is negative 1. So that's our negative 1. Now we're going to take our negative 1 and we're going to plug it in to solve for y. So we're going to go back to our original equation and we're going to rewrite our original equation. So we get y equals negative x squared minus 2x minus 1. And now wherever you see our x, remember we're going to plug in a negative 1. So here we have a negative. And now wherever our x is, we're going to put negative 1 squared minus 2. Then the x is negative 1 minus 1. Now let's simplify that. Well, let's do our exponent first. We have negative 1 squared, which is going to be positive 1s. So now we have positive 1 times negative is going to be negative 1, right? So negative 1, and then we're going to come right here, and we have a negative 2 times a negative 1 becomes a positive 2. So that would be simplified to positive 1, right? So negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. Then don't forget this, 1 minus 1 equals 0. So now we just found our vertex. So our vertex is negative 1, 0. Okay, so that's our vertex. That's our first step. We needed to find our vertex. And then we're going to use our step pattern, which is 1, 3, 5, and 7 times whatever a was. Well, if you remember, our a was negative 1. So our step pattern is still 1, 3, 5, and 7, but you need to multiply it by negative 1. So now it's our step pattern now is going to be negative 1, then negative 3, then negative 5, and negative 7, because I just multiplied all of those by negative 1. So now we have this step pattern. So let's see what that looks like. So let's come back to our graph here. And we're going to first locate our vertex. So our vertex is negative 1, 0. So we're going to go to negative 1, 0 right here. Okay. And now we're going to look at our step pattern. So now this is going to be slightly different because we're going to start here and we're going to go over 1, down 1. Now let's think about that. Why are we going down? Well, because it's a negative. And remember, our a value is negative. And anytime our a is negative, we know automatically that our parabola is going to be flipped upside down. Remember that. So again, we started at our vertex, which was negative 1, 0. And this time we're going over 1, down 1. Okay, that's our first point. Now we're going over 1, down 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going over 1, down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going over 1, down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, and now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to go over 1, down 1. Remember, it's exactly symmetrical. It's exactly across from the other point. Now we're going to go over 1, down 3. So over 1, 1, 2, 3. Right? Now we're going over 1, down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to go over 1, down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we have our points and we're just going to draw our line, our parabola here. Again, mine is not perfect, but you get the point that it's very curvy and you're just attaching your points. Awesome. So that those two are very important. And now we have one more that I want to show you,